grew up in Guatemala. I'll have him tell you the story and just hit some of the high points or low points. Beautiful country, got to see volcanoes erupting, interesting people. Just south of Mexico. Used to be part of Mexico, but Santa Anna made them mad, so they broke away like Texas did. He was such a thug, increasing taxes, trying to take their guns. He grew up there because my aunt and uncle were down there working on, well, I guess they bought property and had a coffee plantation. But the issue was a lot of his Vietnam buddies were moving down there, so he moved down there. And he can tell you the rest of the story of what Guatemala's like. And by the way, he was there in the 70s and early 80s when it was bad. It is now, by every metric, much worse, an absolute hellhole. Beautiful place, but a green hell. And Buckley Hammond, one of the original Info Warriors, now back on the team after a decade in Chicago, up there working for Big TV. Buckley, tell folks, just, I have no idea even what you're going to break down. I know some of the stories. Your brother kidnapped, all of it. Go through those stories for people so they understand what's coming up here. And that Joe Biden says there are children. It's our responsibility. Can't take care of your kids, you're going bankrupt? Have trouble getting off work to pick your kids up at school? Doesn't matter. These are your kids. The whole world's your responsibility, or you're racist. So, Buckley Hammond.
Exactly. First of all, let me just say that the whole magnitude of this experience isn't lost on me. I'm really, really happy to be here talking to you and talking to your more than 3 million daily listeners that, to me, represent the core of a new renaissance, of a new field of thought in the world that we're spreading liberty. And I'm real excited to be here, so let me just get that out of the way. Regarding Guatemala, you know, it's a really long and interesting subject. You could pore over books and read Wikipedia articles and et cetera about it all day long. And it's just been a century of conflict down there. And when you're talking about the violence that is occurring down there now, unfortunately, that's not a new phenomenon. And there's a duality to this that I think is really important to understand, is that, yes, it has always been very violent down there, but the nature of the violence has changed. If you go all the way back into the history of Guatemala, obviously it was colonized by the Spaniards, and the Spaniards were there for a long time. They brought a lot of really positive, interesting things to the culture. Their architecture is still there, and it's really gorgeous and beautiful. But you know, they did all the Indians were basically their indentured servants, and you had everything that is you know, endemic to most of the colonial experiences around the world. In the 1950s, and this is a story that every conspiracy theorist should know because it's not a theory, it's an actual fact.
CIA coup.
Exactly. In the 1950s, United Fruit, with the help of the CIA, deposed a president named Jacobo Arbenz. And they basically just went in there just exactly like the globalists are doing now, but it was a lot more brazen because they just came in with their guns and they just took control of the whole situation so that people like Bob Dole of you know, Chiquita Banana, which is now which was United Fruit, could get their way. You know, they just marched in there with guns and just made whatever they needed to happen. And so I would highly suggest that people go and read about that, because that's a really, really interesting and really just open, naked view into the nascent globalists' sort of power structure.
And it's easy to say, oh, that's third world people, let them do it. Now they're doing it to us.
Absolutely. They're turning it around. And you know, the sad thing is that after that happened, in the 1950s and from 1960s, there has been a civil war in Guatemala from the 1960s all the way through to 1996. Now, that is 36 years. 36 years that the country has been racked, you know, with a violent civil war. And the majority of that is basically just this revolving door of people in power and leftist and socialist and actually communist, like Russian supported insurgents, you know, that were attacking a government that was backed by the CIA in the United States. And it just went back and forth and back and forth. So the country is just riddled with you know, bloodletting that's been going on for generations. Now, what is significant about that is the fact that now, you know, now the Civil War is supposedly over, right? But what has happened is you've had generations and generations of people who have known nothing but violence and have been racked back and forth by violence. And basically all the power structures that are there, like the police and any sort of way to keep civil calm, has been almost completely deconstructed. So at this stage right now, Guatemala is, instead of having two forces that are sort of fighting each other, it's become an absolute cesspool of horrific, absolute horrific violence against the people themselves.
It's anarchy. What all these anarchists want is Guatemala. This is what government devolves into, an absolute nightmare instead of a very small constitutional government.
Exactly. And there's an article that I read a long time ago, and I went back and I looked it up again, and it was just very startling and very visceral, and it really sort of details the horror that these people live through on a daily basis. And it was in the New Republic, and it's called The Most Dangerous Job in the World. And basically, it's a story about how 900 Guatemalan bus drivers were killed by thugs and gangsters and murderers over the course of a year. So I would highly suggest people go and read that. I think it's
900. And again, that's what's coming here, because it's not just Guatemala. All of Central and South America is descending into road warrior, frothing insanity. And our government is saying, come on, come up here.
This hour brought to you by InfidelBodyArmor.com. When it hits the fan, don't be left without the body armor that will save your life. With prices starting at just $374.99 and ships free. Get yours at InfidelBodyArmor.com. Just won't quit.
Hi, Ted Anderson with Midas Resources. Is it time to convert paper 401ks and IRAs to solid gold and silver yet? Get our 10 Reasons book free. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Next to water and food, you need a safe, storable fuel supply for your preparedness needs. Spare Fuel is the answer. Spare Fuel can be used in any gas-powered vehicle or generator. Spare Fuel is perfect for any unforeseen out-of-gas emergencies. Unlike gasoline, Spare Fuel is safe to store with your other supplies, and it can be stored for many years. Go to GetSpareFuel.com for special pricing. That's GetSpareFuel.com.
Hi, folks. Alex Jones here with some important information. I want to tell you about Matt Redhawk and his team of patriots over at My Patriot Supply. Several years ago, Matt was sitting in his two-bedroom apartment, frustrated with the direction this country was headed and the charlatans willing to sell us out for a quick buck. Deciding to take action, a company run by patriots for patriots was born. My Patriot Supply has never taken a loan or accepted outside funding. They now operate 2 distribution facilities and employ over 50 hardworking American men and women. It is rare to find companies who practice what they preach. And that's why I stock my pantry with high-quality storable foods from My Patriot Supply. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today for special offers on emergency food storage, or call their preparedness specialist at 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Do business with someone who shares your values. mypatriotsupply.com/Alex.
It seems that everywhere you turn to these days, people are talking about the health benefits of silver. But don't be fooled into believing all silver is the same. Only one silver solution has been clinically shown to be hundreds of times stronger than colloidal or ionic silver. That's supernatural silver. It can be used internally as a powerful immune system enhancer to fight off bacteria and viruses. Supernatural silver can be used topically to treat any type of wound or skin issue. It's even gentle enough to be used on the ears, eyes, and sinuses. And unlike harsh drugs and antibiotics, supernatural silver has no side effects. Available as a liquid or a gel that you can use every day to stay healthy and well. To experience outstanding customer service and to place your order, visit supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code SILVER2014 for 20% off your entire order. Give yourself and your loved ones a fighting chance with Supernatural Silver. Only at supernaturalsilver.com. Supernaturalsilver.com.
Come, you masters of war, you that build the big guns.
The globalists have deliberately destabilized Central and South America. They're now moving to destabilize North America. They started with Mexico, and this is part of their larger plan. So anyone who's for all these illegals pouring in wants to destroy the country. Period. You can say, oh, it's for children all day. Bull. Buckley, get back into the 900 bus drivers killed in 1 year, to the point of buses just stop moving. This is the insanity of an unstable country where people only know how to rob and steal when the country goes completely bad. And now the crime rate is exploding across the Southwest as the crime wave out of Central and South America conduits up through Mexico in a deliberate plan? Buckley, break down the stories.
Well, you're right. You know, when violence gets to that level, it just creates it's like your body like locking down in toxic shock. You know, it just nothing can work. I mean, how can bus drivers and people who drive trucks with products in the back make it from point A to point B, you know, without being robbed at gunpoint? And so it's a really, really vicious circumstance. And one of the things that I'd like to do is just sort of relate a couple of stories that happened to me personally when I was growing up in Guatemala. I was born in 1974 in Guatemala City in the Aurora hospital down there. And I lived there for till I was about 11 years old. We came back in 1986. And the first story that I'm going to tell is about some friends of my parents, and this was before I was even 1 year old. The woman's name was Elsa Schumann, and the little boy, his name was Jonas, and he was my friend. You know how like little pre-toddler babies will have.
And to be clear, your dad was down there as a missionary and ran a Christian school too.
Exactly. And so one day they went downtown. The wife and the young boy went downtown to go to the market, and a bomb exploded nearby them, and they were both severely injured. The little boy Jonas died, and the mother gave my mom a teddy bear that I have kept with me my whole life. It's been in my bed for my whole life, and that's to me is sort of a reminder of where I came from. And it's a really stark reminder that you know, children and everybody else is a danger and as collateral damage in this war. You know,
now, was that a loving communist bomb that killed him?
Absolutely, it was a loving communist bomb. So another story was that my mom and I were downtown at one point, going to the market. Actually, it was the bank, if I remember correctly. We were in the bank, and a car bomb blew up outside. You know, all the plaster was coming off the walls, et cetera. I remember that very clearly. So I very nearly was in one of those circumstances too. Another story that I have is that we used to drive all together in a sort of a armored car to go to school. And one time we were coming off of an exit on a highway, much like a circular, you know, like when you come off the exit and you have to turn around a circular way to go down. And there was a big shootout in front of us. It was an assassination, and a bunch of people just shot the car in front of us. And our driver drove off the road, went off-roading, and drove off, and we just saw the aftermath of that. And I remember my mom reminded me this morning that when we were driving around, she used to play a game where she would say, "Duck!" and we would all have to duck, you know, and it was really just preparing us for the next time that there was, you know, a fusillade of bullets and guns.
And, of course, guns were banned there, but it was a total hellhole.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like Mexico. And once a civil war, a mafia war breaks out, once we accept a gangster culture, you don't hardly ever come back. You can knock Christians all day, and America hadn't been perfect, but we've been a lot more stable than other nations. That's what made the wealth. And now we're converting to a gangster culture, and our government wants it to happen. I want to hear more of these stories when we come back, Buckley Hammond, in the next hour. But first off, in the 30 seconds we've got left, why do you think the system wants to do this here?
Well, I think they want to implode it from the inside. I mean, it's like injecting a cancer. It's like putting polonium inside of somebody's body. You know, it's if you take people that have lived in that circumstance and you put them inside of a normal society, we're soft.
Stay there. Yeah, I want to hear about this when we come back. That's powerful.
Thank you for listening.
But again, that's racist. When he was in the bombs and the baby died, and he doesn't love it. He should want to.
This is Scottish John for Infowars.com. I know that most of you here in this commercial already know about the New World Order, eugenics, and all the other issues covered here at Infowars. The question is, do your friends and family know? If not, then I want to know why. Oh, I know it's tough to talk about this with some people. They might call you names, or they just want to talk about sports or soap operas. I say, so what? There's a battle going on out there right now. The ammunition is information, and the soldiers are you. It's time to transform your game from passive listener to active participant. We from Scotland have had our skin in this game for the greater part of the last 1,000 years, and I'm still fighting. If we don't all stand up right now, we're going to lose everything. The Infowar is worldwide. Tell your friends about Infowars and let them know that Infowars doesn't print bull. It's real journalism and news backed up by documented fact. Step up and take your friends and family to Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.tv and PlanetInfowars.com. The truth will set them free.